higher interest. It's kind of complicated, and if you want to come in to the office and meet with the general manager, he can show you the portfolio, and you can even put a call into the guy that handles the accounts, and
it's 65. It's 65,000, and maybe send me a breakdown of how that reinvestment works.
And this policy, when it comes back with the budget stuff annually, that's when you change things for what you consider investment.
it's all low risk.
If we do nothing, that does nothing for another year. But if you see the interest rate on it going from a 1.7 up to a 3.16, you're going to basically trade it a year early, and you'll lose a little bit on the interest side, but then it's reinvested at a higher rate, so you gain it back.
And rates are going to be declining.
How long is it going to be at the rate of 3.16?
He said weekly it kind of has been going up and down. We got a 3.05, and right now it's saying 3.16. So it trended up a little bit, but they're talking about it drastically possibly going down.
It'll be something the board works with the policy when it comes.
What's the rate pegged to?
What's what?
Prime rate, prime interest rate, what's it based on?
Well, we're going to bring all that to you guys.
I just know they could raise it so the mortgage is going to cut down.
Yeah.
I have a question on this. The money that we put into the investment fund was all capital facility money, developer fee.
I'm going to have to refer to Paula for that, but when he created, the former general manager created an admin account.
Right.
And he placed money in the investment account based off money he pulled. And to truly tell you where that money come from, we're still trying to, is that right? Still trying to figure out exactly
funds it belongs to?
Exactly. Who it came
It
from.
wasn't really documented.
Where it came from, it came from general fund. It wasn't documented where in general fund. Just came from general fund into admin fund and that went into the investment. But
We're fixing things.
This sounds so familiar.
But with the audit finished and the accounts audited, it's going to show where the deficits are at, and then it can be determined if where that money belongs from there.
My question with that is knowing what fund, what department it came from, and then if some of it's like developer fees, I mean, interest in developer fees can only be used for capital facility projects, correct?
Well, those accounts are all going to be reconciled, and so the ones that had restricted funds that are supposed to have restrictions,
right,
those will have to be accounted for. And then in general operation fund, it'll all, once it's reconciled, we can't tell. But you're going to see where deficits are at, and then at some point we'll be able to tell where that money potentially belongs.
I think if you go back to the original dates of the investments, you should be able to go to the minutes of the meetings, because it was clearly described to us what funds were being invested.
Yeah, we've done all that.
And you haven't found anything? We had a conversation here.
Yeah, it
We'll
wasn't.
look at it, but the thing is, it went
You have to
to,
go to the recordings.
I did.
but it goes to admin fund.
Oh, the recording?
So when the investment's made and it's referring to the admin and general funds, where it went to, that was established. Where it came from wasn't necessarily established.
Did you say we don't have those?
Yes, we
And how
do not
long
have
do we keep them
those.
for?
You only mandatory have to keep them for 30 days, but since I've been a board clerk, we keep them. The other ones have been either deleted or destroyed.
I know Paula and Darsha have painstakingly gone through every one of these accounts and things, and we will do our best to identify. We are knowing that 100% accounting for which account it came from. That's almost, if he didn't document it, it's not going to be there.
I want to say that it was developer fees. That's what I want.
I know part of it, I thought it was, because we had the vehicle.
I think the whole thing was.
And there may be, unless
And
you
you
guys
guys
We
know.
don't know, we're just gonna have to wait and see, and we're gonna have to
Okay,
do some
that's fine.
digging, and then once we know, we will let you guys.
And when you look at those
Make a decision.
fees, if those accounts are short and the amounts are there, it may indicate with dates, I mean, those things will come up, so we'll get it ironed out.
Is there any public comment? Okay, is there a motion to approve?
A motion.
Second.
Mr. Collins. Director Palafox.
Yes.
Director Parent.
Yes.
Director Sangster.
Yes.
Director Calvins.
Yes.
President Green.
Yes.
Passes 5-0.
Item 3, review and discuss changes recommended by the ad hoc personnel committee of the district personnel guidelines policy manual, previously adopted by the board September 15, 2016.
So our ad hoc committee held 3 meetings reviewing this personnel policy, and there were line item changes. You guys have been provided with that report. You guys saw the red lines? And
So at the last committee meeting, we focused on chapters 5 through 15, which thereby ended the committee's, I guess, review of the personnel policies.
We did, however, have one portion that was going to be reviewed, that you were going to review.
Yeah, so I didn't have time to review it prior to the board meeting, and I wasn't able to get proper documentation into the board packet for this meeting.
Okay, that's
So,
fine.
so I'll have to come back to the board on that. That was about the vehicle policy of the district.
Yeah, and after reading it, and trying to digest all the different points that went into it, I think that it really needs some work.
That's fine.
The committee could meet one more time and work on those 2 pages. I would
Should I
like
work with the
to,
old policy too?
that was in the policy from 2014. That is 2 pages.
Or 2004, I think, actually. It was like 1040 or something, policy 1040 or 1080.
2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Oh, was it 2020?
I think it was 2020.
It was 2020, 2040.
It outlines discipline,
Specific to if you get a ticket, if you're in a car accident, if you get a DUI, things like that, right?
yeah, and there was some, after I read it a couple of times, I started thinking, you know, if you're doing all these things, and we're having to suspend a driver's, or suspend an employee's driving privilege in the district for a period of time, that pretty much cripples the district. We talked about that in committee. But I mean, some of the point accumulations are pretty egregious. Like if
Well, I think we have
you
a
get 3
fail-safe
points,
also.
I'm sorry?
We have a fail-safe because in the discipline procedure section, there is a kind of catch-all provision that says you can be disciplined for violation of the vehicle use policy up to and including termination.
Right? Okay, so what I'd like to do right now, if we could as a board, is direct our attention to what you have in the comments on the margin. And we would start with page 41. It would be page 177 of your board pack, page 41 of the policy.
So my first comment is 9.2.1 subsection C under implementation. So this all came from the prior vehicle policy. It's the district shall participate in the PMP employer pull notice program.
No, that's
Reference for anyone operating vehicles on district business shall be requested from DMV every 6 months and immediately in the event of a new activity. For example, a moving violation, accident, or a dress change. So my comment here was, what is the district's current practice? Does the district request records for anyone operating any vehicle or just those who operate a district vehicle?
I don't,
Or is there a practice right now?
It's only
Are we not?
What is the practice now?
people who drive vehicles, right?
Well, if there's a violation on the street, they're driving any vehicle and they get in an accident, full notice is supposed to notify and state that, you know, I got an accident, and then we would have to take appropriate action if, let's say I got a DUI on the street, and then the district was notified I was in my private vehicle. There's still action that should be taken. If they're in a district vehicle, that's even more severe.
Right, so
So
the question is, are you pulling pull notices? Are you getting pull notices now?
We get them, but it's being updated because,
Yes, we do. Yeah.
yes, we do get them.
Okay, so we do get,
Okay, then we'll leave that section as is.
So the
Just to be clear, Rob, it's personal vehicles, so like if you were driving your own personal vehicle
It's-
while on district business,
it's driving record. The pull notice is just a driving record from the DMV. It doesn't matter if you violated in a district vehicle or not, it's gonna be on the individual's record.
that's what, I wanted to know what the trigger was. The trigger was if you're even driving your own personal vehicle.
Yes,
So
it
yes,
is.
the answer is yes.
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 Okay.
So what page is that?
That's on
It's
page
41 of the actual
41 of the policy, but it's 177 of the board pack. Your next comment is, what is a report date? That would be whatever date the DMV printed on the pull notice.
Okay. I'm gonna just clear that up.
Is the probation only applicable to driving district vehicles or from driving any vehicle for district business? I would assume that it would be if you're conducting business for the district, then it's our liability. So therefore, it would include any vehicle being driven
What's the
on.
current practice? So is that the current practice?
It would be any vehicle.
He's saying current practice. Can you point out what's too ambiguous?
I think it was for, actually, it wasn't for that one specifically, it was for the one below it.
Okay. Well, a driver will be suspended from district driving privilege for 120 days if,
And then subsection A and B, they earn 4 points or more, they earn 6 points or more. So why don't we just say they earn 4 points?
I don't,
Why is it-
that was one of the things I questioned, I didn't get it either.
Okay.
And I think
Say they
that,
earn 4 points.
I think if you earn 4 points within 24 months in the state of California, you're already suspended. I don't think you have a driver's license.
Yeah, so I think I'm just gonna take out the or more for subsection A and B, because it doesn't make sense to me.
I think what we should do is turn to the DMV and find out at what point do they suspend the license.
Okay.
But I think this whole section needs to be rewritten. Because I can't see if somebody earns 6 or more points within 36 months, I really would have a hard time finding a desire to have them working here driving our vehicles.
And I imagine the DMV probably has a disciplinary procedure already that we could probably pull and adopt. So let me take a look at that.
Okay. And then, in 9.2, which is on page 40, or 176 of your board pack, we have a red line, we have a red print. Employees shall conduct pre-operation inspections of vehicles and equipment, report any repairs made and perform any minor repairs, or initiate a work order or service order request. I wanna, what about it?
Unless responding to an emergency call, something like that.
Right?
If you're going to an emergency call, I wouldn't expect that someone's gonna do a pre-flight inspection on their vehicle.
Right, no. And that's discussed somewhere else in here, isn't it? I recall we had that discussion.
Correct, and they're done, pre-trips are done every Tuesday. When we do our drills, we spend, the first part of the drill is equipment and pre-trip inspection on them weekly.
Okay. My comment was I wanted to introduce the word document. Employees shall conduct pre-operation inspections of the vehicle and equipment. Employees shall conduct and document pre-operation inspections.
Part of our new emergency reporting system with the iPads that we currently don't use any longer except you, is set up to do a full pre-trip, document it. It's a really awesome program.
We utilize the balance of them.
Okay, so my point here was you're performing the pre-op, but we're going to have a form to fill out. So it would be, we'll conduct and document pre-operation inspections.
It's part of our system that's printable for fire, and they can use it for backup too.
And I think that's pretty much addresses all of your comments.
Yes, it does.
Has everybody had a chance to thoroughly read this document as a whole and enjoy it as much as we did in committee?
One of the comments I had for, I guess, 921 section E, number 3, where the driver gets suspended for 120 days. I feel they shouldn't be suspended for 20 days. They should be suspended for their driving privilege if they do get a DUI. Like how you said, if it's with their personal car, then okay if they get suspended for 120 days, but if they're using company vehicle while drinking and driving,
It would be mandatory termination.
yeah.
It wouldn't be a suspension.
Well, subsection 4.
It would be termination pending a Skelly hearing. Am I incorrect about that? Drinking and driving on the job in a district vehicle?
You're half right.
Okay.
The way that this reads, I mean, if someone was drinking and driving on the job, yeah, my recommendation would be immediate termination.
Right.
But E4 says a driver is suspended of district privileges, driving privileges, if they receive a citation for DUI, DWI, reckless driving, etc., while driving during district business.
Right, and that's why I'm recommending that we go through this. We can do it as a committee, or you can do it on your own, and we can keep hammering it out until we get it, but it needs...
I'll take a crack at fixing it and bring it back to you guys.
Okay. Yeah, I'd just like to see it reduced to maybe one page
Yep.
and not quite so lenient.
Understood.
How about a separate driving policy aside from district property chapter?
Do we have something in our injury illness prevention plan regarding?
No, I have not.
I know we have something in there regarding substance abuse, but it doesn't address driving, does it?
So I have not reviewed the illness prevention plan probably since we got onboarded as general counsel, but we have the separate drug and alcohol workplace policy that we drafted separately, but that doesn't involve driving, just being inebriated on the job.
But it doesn't address operating equipment or driving.
I believe it does, but you're not allowed to do that. While under the influence.
What would you like to see?
Well, I was just wondering if it would be appropriate to separate this. I mean, we're talking about vehicles here. I guess it is district property, but maybe change the heading of chapter 9. I don't know, there's a lot of red line here, and I mean, if you start reading this stuff, I mean,
I see what you're saying. So you want to have...
they receive a citation for DUI, DWI, reckless driving, keeping test while driving during district business within 36 months of report date, or B, receive 2 citations for DUI and or DWI, 2 citations for reckless driving, 2 citations. I mean...
Right, no, I don't disagree with you. Actually, it was the only way I could get it in, well, it's probably not the only way, but it was the way, there was a section of our previous policy that this was all written in. And I wanted to incorporate it into personnel policy somehow, and this was the only place that we could really figure out where to fit it in, and we did it at the last minute, but I wanted to do that so that it got addressed.
Okay.
So we can address that, and then I think what's being recommended is we create a separate chapter, like make it chapter 10 and then push chapter 10 to 11 and 12.
I'm just wondering if it's appropriate to have a separate vehicle policy separate from a property, or just change the heading on chapter, and I don't know.
We could also put it in disciplinary action under the operation, under a separate, 10 point whatever, addressing vehicle use. That might be more appropriate.
I think my suggestion would be to move 9.3, the cellular telephone usage, to the miscellaneous chapter, which is chapter 15.
What about
Because there's a
chapter 10? Disciplinary action.
I think I would rather keep the vehicle use section separate from discipline, just because there's other elements outside of discipline in the vehicle use policy.
Not all district employees are using vehicles, district employees.
No, but the majority of them are operating either their own vehicle on behalf of the district or operating a district vehicle.
So I'll call chapter 9 district vehicle use policy, and I'll move 9.3 to chapter 15.
Okay, well that way we can just all work on it as a group at board meetings. It should be just one page. Maybe two. Comment?
My comment was going to be that basically I don't think that it should be a separate section, but I agree with what Blaine said about moving the cell phone policy. But in reviewing what we brought over from the 2014 version, most of that stuff is redundant. And I agree with Joe, it probably could be reduced down to next to nothing as far as the steps. You're probably still going to have to look at what state law says for substance abuse. So if somebody's driving, gets drunk driving, and then they say they have a problem, you have to help them.
Right.
But I think this could be cleaned up and brought down to a one-page type of thing where it clearly outlines what happens if you do it. The district really doesn't have a lot of positions that would allow you not to be able to drive. And it clearly outlines your loss of driving ability in the job descriptions and in several other sections here that it could lead to termination. So once you've gotten to that point, those people are going to go into their Skelly hearing if they choose to have one, and then that's going to determine the severity of their discipline or termination.
Right. In other public agencies that I'm familiar with, if you get a DUI, if your job is driving a vehicle and you get a DUI, whether it's in your own vehicle or a district-owned vehicle, you get terminated, and then you could be brought back on a stipulation contract. But if the district doesn't have, being that we're so small, if we don't have a non-driving position that we can fill, because you're going to lose your license for 30 days up front, no matter what. That's a given. And can we get by for 30 days? We might be able to. So if it's a really good employee that made a really dumb mistake, you may want to offer them a stipulation contract and bring them back. But it would be like you'd be on probation for, whatever period of time is agreed upon. Could be a year, could be 5 years. It just depends on what the severity was. But you also offer them EAP and help them with, if they have a substance abuse problem.
Yeah.
You help them with that every way you can.
If it was a 30-day thing where they lost for 30 days and it was a once-in-a-lifetime thing,
Right.
whether it's their personal vehicle or district vehicle, then they, through channels that are already established, they have a chance. But I don't think that there's any need to count points and say, oh, well, you got 3 now, go get that 4th one.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think it would be based on if you lose your license or not, and that should pretty much be it.
But even if you get a DUI, you made some sort of conscious decision to put yourself in that
That's
position.
right. And that's 2 points by itself.
And would that person be insurable for our insurance? Or are they going to say, wait a minute, you got a guy with a DUI on your insurance here?
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to affect it. So these are all things that
Elaine can look at it. I agree with Kelly. I think it should really, instead of points, it should be based on whether or not you have a driver's license. But then if you earn points in a district vehicle, that's what we need to be looking at.
Okay.
You know, more so than if you go racing home after work, that's your business. But a DUI in a district vehicle should be mandatory separation.
I think in one of the disciplinary sections it says that, but
I'll leave it up to Elaine for now. Is there any other board comments or questions?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
Actually, I have a couple. First one, because this policy also affects our firefighters, if I remember correctly, we discussed that.
it's all employees.
But our fire trucks, are they considered Class B commercial vehicles? Are they
All fire equipment, well, except for the pickup truck, like the utility pickup trucks.
right?
These 3 fire trucks out here, you have to have a firefighter endorsement to legally drive them.
Right.
So all the people who drive them they take our training here, then they have to go to the DMV and pass a test there to get the firefighter endorsement.
It's a Class B with a firefighter.
No, it's just firefighter endorsement. So
Oh, you can have a C with a firefighter.
you can have a C with a firefighter endorsement and drive a Class A vehicle. A fire truck, Class A vehicle.
Okay.
But that's only for our agency. So if you went and worked somewhere else, you'd have to go through that whole thing with them with their